I think PSG aren't a team that will likely allow that, although going into the draft phase, it is an early Lucian and Kai'Sa ban against Wako. The answer is going to be Melio, so taking that away early. And so far, there is obviously 2 bans still left for PSG, LeBlanc and Nico both open.
Yeah, I wonder if the Nico being left open is because there's some other counterpick to it. You know how we've seen the LeBlanc left open for the Tristana to come into it. So I wonder if that's something similar with Nico that we haven't quite seen yet. I will be interested to see if it does get left up and picked, what is chosen into it. Azir is the last ban. Maple, very good on that champion, and I think Azir is definitely an underrated champ right now. It's kind of not quite as good as Nico and LeBlanc, but after that, it's an extremely solid choice. PSG, the last ban, will it be LeBlanc or Nico, or maybe look to trade them?
Yeah, I have to feel like at this point you don't really want to ban one, because then you just miss out on getting the other, and I feel like that has to be sort of where you go. I also wanted to point out the Maokai ban. I think from what I can tell just through pure eye test, it does seem to me like Maokai looks to be the strongest jungler at the moment, just on what impact he can have. But ultimately, exciting game we now have. It's Minji going to be playing this LeBlanc, this insanely overtuned Static Shiv LeBlanc.
And what will be the answer? I mean, Tristana's been the obvious one. Could Nico be picked into it well? I think it could. Or maybe something else that Mabel's got cooked up for us. And the Renekton, I mean, will they just take Renekton Sedge and then maybe take their mid laner on 3? I think that's something they could look for. Lots of options available here, and if they do take Sedge Renekton, probably will be playing into the likes of the Vi, maybe the Wukong as well. I think Wukong might be better, but let's see. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could just be the Renekton as a strong power pick too. There's really lots of options for PSG. I think the Sejuani, yeah, should be the lock-in really. Rounds up your comp really nicely, gives you that strong top jungle 2v2, and it is obviously a denial from Lava. Now, what do you pick up? Because I think the Vi is not super good into the Renekton and Sejuani. Maybe the Wukong is a bit better. I feel like you have to pick jungler in 2-3 here, right? Otherwise it goes down and you're forced onto something like the Kindred. The Aphelios is being hovered, and if they do this, will they pick the Thresh up alongside it now?
It almost feels like these AD carry bans and now early rotationing Aphelios is more of a trying to get Wako off of these power picks than picking for the team comp. So it is going to be Jax now locked in, which means you have to think the next bans coming out of PSG after this next lock-in should likely be junglers.
Yeah, there's lots of different things you can do now. You can ban out those supports to keep Aphelios safe. Alternatively, you know, dropping jungle looks pretty difficult, and Tristana could be the match into LeBlanc here. It's a pretty good matchup, the Shiv builder as well, and has the ability to put the pressure on. As we head into those second phase bans, we'll see where PSG looks. Is it the junglers or is it the supports? I think it should be junglers. But maybe they're saying that there's no jungler that's good that you can pick here anyway, and we just want to take that Thresh away from Aphelios.
You have to wait and find out. Like, I feel like if you ban Wukong Vi, there's just no real jungler left that is as insane as the likes of Sejuani anymore.
Yeah, you definitely would be forced onto something a little bit different. And J-Team, what will they answer? They ban away the Varus, and I'm not sold. I think Varus and Ashe have looked very, very weak in the games we've seen them thus far. But if there's anyone that could make it work, it's probably Wako.
Yeah, I feel like Wako could still just go for the Zeri.
Could do, yeah. There's a lot of champs still up and available. There is also Lucian with a melee support. We haven't seen it yet.
Banned. Lucian was the first
okay, yeah, first ban. Poppy. Okay, interesting. So Wukong is open. But it's not an amazing Wukong game, to be fair. But it probably will be the pickup. Now, what is this last ban? They banned the Ashe away. So what will Wako look towards? There are a lot of 80 carries banned out and one taken away from him. Zyra Khan is still open.
Yeah, actually, that almost seems like an oversight, right? I mean, Xayah doesn't do that amazingly into Jax, although it's just such a safe 80 carry in almost any position. But you absolutely can just lock in the Xayah here. It is likely that it will be Rakan locked away from them, but you can pretty much pair any support up with the Xayah. Leona, Thresh, Nautilus, all good choices.
Yeah, and I think giving over the Xayah just feels... Is it really worth putting 4 ADC bans if you're just giving Wako Xayah anyway? I'm not too sure, but J-Team seem to think so. We'll We'll see how that pays off for them in this game. As looks like Aphelios Lulu, so range support, going to be picked up here for Enzo. And now, what is that jungler? Wukong might be the obvious choice, but maybe some frontline would be good. Not sure what they could grab though, but I think having frontline for the Aphelios Lulu would be really nice. Kindred, I don't know. It's good into the Sejuani, but I really think having more frontline would perhaps be better. There really just isn't a whole lot of options though, as we're running out of junglers. A lot have been targeted away. I kind of like the Nocturne a little more. I think it makes it pretty hard for Tristana to play the side lane as much as before. And would he? Could he go towards one of these other melee supports? I mean, Rakan looks very strong, as always. But something else a bit different. And it is the Rakan. Kind of expected.
No surprise, really, when it comes to that lock-in. So, team comps finishing up. What do you think the Nocturne build's going to be? And then after that, who do you think sort of won out on this draft phase?
I think Nocturne will probably go Stridebreaker into tank. I can't see him going any more after that, but I think he can, you know, kind of function as a front line and shut down Tristana's side laning. In terms of who won the draft, I think I have to give it to PSG. While there are some potentially good matchups here, like in the top lane, and I think if you can set up ganks at 6 in the mid lane for J-Team, can be good, but overall, PSG, once again, they just have an extremely good cohesive team comp while also having pound for pound, very good champions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am sort of perplexed at the 480 carry bans giving over Xayah. I feel like Wako doesn't seem like the kind of 80 carry that wants to lock in the likes of the Ashe. Even Varus was not something he played an awful lot last split when it was insanely in the meta.
Yeah, surely the Xayah ban was better than Ashe against Wako.
I think just in general it's probably better, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think Ashe can be one of those champs that in scrims can be, you know, very oppressive, right? Like, just in general, scrim games are a bit faster. And so playing champions that are very good in lane like the Ashe can sometimes feel very suffocating, very, very oppressive. But it really feels on stage that those champions don't have the same effect. And giving Wako another crit ADC that just hits 2 items and then kind of 1v9s the game, it feels like a lost condition here for J-Team.
Yeah, and again, the Nocturne functions similarly to how a Vi functions when going into 80 carries in particular, and Xayah, we all know, is one of the best 80 carries at going up against the Vi. The only sort of difference is if you are able to channel that fear before the Xayah pulls out her ult, it does land the fear still. So that is one bonus you do get out of the Nocturne, where you don't get from the Vi, but even then, it isn't the easiest thing to pull off. It relies more on Wako not pressing his R button than it relies on yourself.
For sure, and I think you'd much rather, if you were setting up for this Nocturne the whole time, you'd much rather play Nocturne versus Varus or Ashe than you would a Xayah. So really questionable, you know, second phase bans in 4-5, I think, from J-Team, but maybe they've had good success with it in scrims. They could just play for a 1-3-1. You know, they've got the LeBlanc and Jax for the side lanes and a Nocturne that can hover them. So if they are just planning to avoid team fights completely, I could maybe see that being better.
Okay, now, I think in runes, everything fairly stock standard. There's nothing all that surprising coming out. Obviously, LeBlanc going more lane focused. Wouldn't be so surprised to see her put more points in queue. And other than that, yeah, everything just pretty standard here. And junglers, by the looks of things, it will be solo starts. I think both these teams realize that is the optimal way to play.
Yeah, definitely think that right now, especially bot lane not having to leash seems too important. Just making sure that they can start in the lane, be in the place they want to be. But even with the range support here, I'm not sure if J-Team can win the level 1 up against the Xayah Rakan. And this happens almost every single time.
That's heal popped already, so just W committed for heal.
I kind of think it might be good for J-Team, though. You have to get some sort of control in this lane, and if you have to use a heal to do it, I think it's worth it. You know, so often we see the Xayah Rakan just start winning the game at level 1 and never really stop winning it after that. J-Team, they're willing to fight back at least a little. Maybe hits level 2 first. Doesn't decide to W forward aggressively. He was probably on cooldown after that early trade, but has himself a lot of priority and will do so until these shivs are completed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think no surprise, it is currently Driver that is winning up in the top lane so far, but I think most of our attention should come towards Maple on this Tristana. If you're willing to give over the LeBlanc, you really do have to put on a lot of early pressure to delay that acquisition of the Static Shiv to sort of give your team the best chances in the game.
Definitely, I think LeBlanc, you know, while Static Shiv is built on many champions for the wave clear, LeBlanc is one of the best users of it just for dealing damage in team fights. You know, your W charges it quicker, and it's so easy just to dash forward, proc it, and get out.
This is also the second time PSG have given over the LeBlanc and picked up the Tristana for themselves. They did it against Frank and were obviously able to win that game, and now doing it again here.
Yeah, I think the Tristana is pretty strong, to be honest. It has a lot of mixed damage with the build it goes for, and ooh, hold that thought.
Azir finding a really nice trade here. Driver in a bit of trouble. Does not have Counter-Strike, does have Flash, but with Junja here, Junja does use that Flash nice and early, but it is Driver getting away. Flash committed though.
Yeah, forced to flash and uses ward.
Double knock up here from Woody.
Yeah, there's not a lot of damage to follow it up though. But yeah, I think that's pretty good there for PSG in the top lane. Getting out both his flash and his ward is actually pretty important, although he will have another one up. On the bot side, the Zyrakan, they are suffering a little bit, but as long as they can keep competitive in CS, I think as they get closer to 6, we'll start to have a lot more pressure. Looks like it will just be actually double crab, I think, picked up for Lava. Just pretty nice here on the Nocturne. I think Nocturne does generally clear pretty quickly, and gonna try get a little bit of vision, drops a ward, gonna allow that Aphelios Lulu to keep the pressure on. Jinjia, he is pathing bot. It is currently an empty jungle, although that Gromp is respawning. Is gonna be spotted out here on the ward, so everyone knows exactly where he is, can play around it.
Yeah, Lava seemingly rushing level 6. It's something most Nocturnes tend to do. Not really a champion until you are able to make use of that paranoia. At which point you become one of the best ganking junglers in the game. Obviously the range on it, not that amazing at level 6, but just the fact you can blind the entire map.
Can be very, very difficult to deal with, especially if you do end up, you know, down in sums after a skirmish or something. Oftentimes means a guaranteed death at the hands of Nocturne, not too long after. And both mids, I would expect to be going towards the Shiv once again. Maybe the Tristana won't, but I think it's still a good game for it. LeBlanc did start the longsword though, so it's going to be slightly ahead on the Shiv unless Maple can put her behind. Doesn't look like it though. Both pretty even in CS.
Yeah, now Junja is headed back up to this top side.
Oh, he's going to go for a lane gank.
Yeah, Driver doesn't have flash available, and this wave is slow pushing towards Azir. Commits the Counter-Strike already.
Yeah, Lolva must be getting... Oh.
Yeah, Counter-Strike used. He's going to get stunned up. This is the synergy that you find between Sejuani and Renekton. Driver going the long way. Is he going to be able to go out? I have to feel like no. Turning now onto Junja.
He's wasting a lot of their time, though.
Certainly is, and it looks like Junja will be just getting this kill for himself as Driver looking for a bit of proxy farm. I like what he's done here. Definitely wasted more time than PSG perhaps would have wanted. In fact, doesn't even give over the assist now to Azir.
He does what he can, but it's still very good, I think, for PSG. They do deny a lot of CS onto the top wave. It is collected by Nocturne, who is going to grab 6 here. And with that, maybe you can start to look at some of those other lanes. Has a short window to use it bot before Xayah gets the ultimate, but I don't think he's going to be able to find it. He's going to reset. We'll see. Oh, cancels his reset, actually. Going to play for that top scuttle instead.
Yeah, 6-minute level 6 is incredibly fast for a champion that isn't Karthus.
Yeah, it is quite quick. It got a lot of that extra lane XP, I suppose. Maybe he plotted Driver's downfall. Now, Ward comes out, or Scry's Bloom comes out, excuse me, from Maple. Does just kind of scout out their bot side. And I think with their mid and bot prio could maybe look towards the Dragon. But Maple, he's got to start playing a bit more careful now, knowing that Nocturne is either 6 or close to it. So we'll just have to kind of play a bit more respectfully. And that's a really annoying thing for mid laners about Nocturne, is that you really have to respect him being there the whole time. Especially against the champ with lots of ganks set up like that LeBlanc. They want to crash this wave here, do PSG. Feeling a little scared, I think, until they get that level 6, and then should have no trouble. Jungler's currently far away. I think Lava has a small window here. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where Junjia is, but Might have a window to look for something. Bot would maybe give the Herald up for it, though. Instead, he's going to recall, move back towards that top side. Driver's still getting pretty good trades for himself, despite the pressure that's been put towards his lane.
And it looks like PSG fairly happy in this bot lane now. Definitely looks a lot better for them than it did down at level 1 and 2. Okay, right here, it is the Rift Herald now spawned as well as the Dragon, so I think in the near future we're likely to see a trade of those two objectives. Azu walking down, getting the ward on. Lalva does have that Scuttle Crab once again though, so we'll have vision control for the top side river, at least for now.
Ooh, I wonder, maybe looking for a pressure mid. It's very hard to do something into this LeBlanc, but I think you kind of need Sejuani to hover mid to allow Maple to get this priority, because otherwise, your Tristana is always going to be moving second, just by virtue of the fact that Nocturne has that sex and it's so scary. Jinjia, he's not able to spot him out here. He's starting it up. I think this is a little risky. He does have Woody on the way. Yeah, Woody is going to be here a lot earlier, so I think because they see Enso bot, they feel good about starting this, and it should go their way. So it really is just the fact that Lulu wants to stay in lane a little more. Obviously, Rakan much better at skirmishing. So they do manage to, I think, get this one. But if that's the case, if they are keeping... Ooh, maybe looking on a Minji here.
Oh, we'll be able to get that quickness. Is not going to be able to find it onto Minji, however. Is going to use it now more as an escape than anything. And that is the Nocturne ult traded for the Rakan ult. And ultimately, I think that's good for PSG because Paranoia early on in the game is almost a 3-minute cooldown. So
definitely.
We'll be down.
Yeah, I think not getting a kill or an assist with your first Nocturne ult does feel pretty bad. They are going to be able to get this first Dragon here for themselves. But PSG, they should have no problems with that. They obviously have a very strong team fighting composition, so we'll be more than happy to contest those later drags.
This is something we've seen a lot as PSG have been diving top for Aze. They're looking for it again now. Driver will pop that ultimate, but so much damage coming through from this Renekton. Stunned up, Aze should be able to find it, but not before Driver can turn one for himself.
That's big. I think really nice there by Driver. Manages to trade 1 for 1, and I think especially killing the Sedge who had that Rift Herald there is very important, because if you die 1 for 0 and give over that tower, you know, to the Rift Herald there, you're suddenly in a lot of trouble. As we'll get a replay on it. So they go for this on Driver. I think it might have been a little misplayed. I think you probably just need to back out for a bit here, have Sedge cut off the escape route. But instead they kind of commit a bit too hard while Jax has the stun, and Jinjia ends up getting taken out. Probably just didn't really expect the damage coming from Driver there. As we take a look at mid lane, LeBlanc now has that static Shiv. Will be getting a lot of priority here in the mid lane. Shiv not yet picked up from Maple, but he is working on it.
You know, I don't think we see it often, but in this game it almost feels to me like you want to be using this Rift Herald top. There's no real pressure being had for the Xayah Rakan down bot, and for the most part, Maple's just stayed at his tower against the LeBlanc, which will be even worse now that Static Shiv is completed.
Yeah, I think if you could maybe drop Herald mid just to get him that Shiv gold, but it doesn't cost that much once you have these components.
2 plates left on top lane as well. I feel like maybe just using it to secure that first tower.
Oh, Maple, he needs to be careful here. His jungler's nowhere near.
Yeah, has to dodge the chain. Oh, nice use of the chain by Minji. Is going to force out Maple's ult, so the Tristana not getting the value that perhaps Maple would have wanted against this LeBlanc, who is getting really scary, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think the matchup has been the best for him. Definitely looked better in some of the other games, so Minji is doing very well for himself. And some of that, I wonder, is the choice of starting the D-Blade over the Longsword refillable. Does mean that he's going to hit the Shiv a lot later. As you can see here, right, it's basically a full base later, even if you have the gold for it. It's not that easy to reset until you have that TP up. In topside though, Arja, he's got himself the Gore Drinker. Up 20 CS now, and I think it's still quite hard. Oh, and Maple, he's taking a lot of damage mid.
Yeah, Maple definitely not really being the benefactor of this matchup, despite getting the counter pick, so I think this is looking a lot scarier than the previous game, although Jinjia now is headed down to this bot lane. There is no answer. Nocturne is not in the area, but J-Team smartly will just back away. It looks like Rift Herald should be used here. Timer can't be that long left.
Yeah, I think it will be dropped, just that gold given over to Waka, which will feel very, very good. Very safe person to put it on.
Over here now, Paranoia available, so this will be a 3v3. Actually make it a 4v4. Maple coming down, Paranoia coming in. It is going to be Wako forced to use that ult, but use that ult will be fine. Azir tanking up this tower. Actually, it's Junjie tanking it up, but 4v4 is coming in now. They are able to find two. Minji, the next target, knocked up by Woody. It's Maple coming in. Is he going to be able to find the last hit of damage? He will be able to. 3 people found for PSG. Only Junjie going down.
Really aggressive play there from PSG. They use the fact that RJ has that top lane TP advantage to just come down here, dive bot, and get so much gold. And this maybe could have been answered by J-Team. You know, Minji did have that priority on mid, was able to get here a lot earlier than Maple, but I think he misplayed the team fight. We'll have a look in the replay, speaking of. So you can see here that RJ, he's basing and he's got the TP. I think he might have cancelled his recall. Yeah, cancels the recall, clears the wave, which forces Driver to stay, and just TPs immediately onto this. So they go onto Bruce, he flashes out, but you can see it's so hard to kill the Xayah. You know, the Nocturne ult's committed. And you see here, right? So Minji's here very early, deals a lot of damage, everything's looking good, but he decides to take this W back over the wall to try and cut off the escape route, but instead he just ends up stuck between 4 people. So I think that could have been an avoided death and probably could just static shift the wave under tower. Instead though, dying means a lot more gold goes to PSG.
Yeah, wow, look at Azir. Again, putting up the numbers. And you know one thing, I think since this teleport change, I think this is the first time I've ever seen a teleport used onto a Rift Herald.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't seen a Rift Herald TP2 in a very long time. 20 seconds now on the next drag. J-Team, they did sneak the first one away, but PSG, they're already in such a good spot, and you think that their teamfight comp is already online. I'm not sure if J-Team will be able to contest. Minji, he needs to try to land some poke before the fight, especially before the lifesteal comes through, but it's not going to be easy. Especially with Tristana being able to match on the side lane with that Shiv. Nocturne needs to probably look for Tristana on the side lane. I don't think it's very feasible to look for Xayah, but it's pretty difficult. You know, LeBlanc has to kind of force out the dash in the 1v1, and then Nocturne cleans it up.
Yeah, Azir is getting 2-manned top, is going to run away, give up that tower. So it is the tower found here for J-Team, which is definitely good. You want that gold onto your Jax. It will make life a lot easier. Headed on later into the stages of the game, but 3-0 on Renekton. Azir really changing up, honestly, between these splits. I think PSG in general, I believe, going back, if you look at last split, it was a whole lot about going bot lane and making sure Wako's ahead, getting those dragons, but all 3 games so far of the summer, Junjie has looked aggressively top for dives, or Azir's come bottom for a level 1 dive. It's been pretty cohesive how they've been able to include Azir in these plays, and it's been looking really good.
I wonder how much of that is that TP change to being 10 minutes, right? Because it gives you the option to, you know, secure Rift Herald, play for top, and then kind of transition that lead down the map. Whereas before, if you did get your top laner ahead, you were pretty committed to just playing around your top laner early, because there was no way for them to move that advantage around the map. But now having that TP at 10 minutes, the Unleashed teleport coming online so early, makes it a lot better. Now, trades here, I think, are decent for J-Team. They're getting what gold they can. Not sure if it's on the members it needs to be, though. And I think they are going to be forced to play a 1-3-1. I don't see them winning team fights.
Yeah, definitely not at this stage. Maybe if Aphelios can get a few more items on, Bruce might be able to do the damage. He does have the Lulu. Got to keep him nice and topped up and healthy. Woody here, sitting on a ward, won't be able to find too much. But it is going to be the tower now.
So gold lead is remaining pretty stable here at 3,000, but it's really, you know, where the gold is pretty important. And I think J-Team, their bot lane isn't strong enough to play out a 5v5, and their Nocturne is definitely not strong enough to kill Xayah. So you kind of need to play towards your LeBlanc and your Jax, which is a viable win condition, and you've got a lot of time given that the dragons haven't been stacked up. But at the same time, it's not the easiest thing to execute. Looks like Nocturne is playing towards the Jax side, so they could look at Renekton, but Renekton is so tanky.
Yeah, Azir extremely accelerated already in this game. 3 people are headed down here, though. We do see Enso on the map. The bottom side jungle.
Junjie, he still has this Rift Herald, and with mid tower already down, I'm not sure where he's going to use it. Maybe just place it top and allow Tristana to take that tier 2 could be the play. Seems what he's looking for. He's trying to gain some topside control. Marco, he'll be happy to just clear this wave under the tower. Knows as long as he has ult, should be safe. And Minji spots out Woody. Deals a little bit of chunk onto him.
Pretty insane how much damage one LeBlanc auto attack does these days.
Yeah. And I think it's so difficult for Lava here. You can see him playing on the other side of the map, probably knows that he can't really match Sejuani up here in a skirmish, but at the same time, if you're forced to try and dive a Renekton as your trade, there just isn't a trade. It's not going to work. So instead, he's coming back towards mid, but the Zyra Khan is so safe. Can he find anything? It feels like not. They're just trying to buy more time, but what are you buying time for? I'm not sure that you want this game to go the distance. I mean, you have the scaling, but it's just not in the team fight. You know, it's that 1-3-1 scaling, and the longer you kind of play for the 1-3-1, the more dragons you're going to give over, as Herald has dropped top, and I think Maple should be able to get some damage. I'm not sure he can clear it, though. He's going to try.
Is staying in front here, is actually able to do so. So that is top inner going down. Opening up the map just that much more, allowing for more vision control in the jungle around this Baron side.
Is good for sure. Now, 1 minute on the next drag. I wonder what J-Team try and do here. I think there should be a trade of some sort. I think just engaging for the straight 5v5 is probably not the thing to do. But what will the trade be? Maybe you can take away some top camps. I think a Baron is still kind of out of the question. Tier 2 top tower, maybe another option, but I think you would prefer to take the fight if you can. I really don't have a lot of faith, though, in the team fight right now.
No, especially if Azir is involved. I feel like this Renekton is so far ahead. He's got 2 items, and he's just so massive. Level 13. Obviously, all solo laners are, but if you are this level 9 Lulu or even the level 10 Aphelios, you can be assassinated extremely quickly.
Yeah. J-Team, they are in this top side. They want to be able to pressure Maple, but it feels so tough. As long as Maple plays safe enough in the side, shouldn't really be picked off. There are pings on him, though, so he has to know. Driver
now. We'll have to leap strike away.
Should be safe. Maple needs to play really carefully here. You can see on the minimap those 2 sharks there in the mid jungle looking for him. But I think he knows all he needs to do here is survive while his team gets this dragon. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there will be a trade for J-Team. So game remains stable, but PSG slowly getting ahead. Calm and collected as they normally are. Grab themselves another drag.
Yeah, fairly faultless, all things considered. Not really any power to talk about on J-Team as of yet. I think in the side lane, Jax has the ability to go toe-to-toe or near toe-to-toe now with Azir, but even so, I think for the moment, maybe Renekton is favored slightly. Although Black Cleaver now picked up for Driver on this Jax, which can sway things a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite strong there. And PSG, they're going to start eliminating some of this Baron vision. They do have a lot of DPS, as the Navori picked up on both Wako and Maple here. Second item comes through for LeBlanc as well, has the Night Harvester. And I wonder, what is Junjie going to look for next? Maybe a little bit of pressure mid. Feels like he takes no damage here on the way out. It's so tanky at this point in the game. And the armor pen is still so far away for Bruce, so it's going to be a long time before Junjie really starts taking a lot of damage. Now, LeBlanc, not normally good at dealing with tanks, and with this build, I'd say is slightly better, but still not really a tank buster by any means.
Oh, what are you looking for something here? Junjie actually is going to get spell shielded up, but here comes Azir with the flash stun onto Driver. He's going to get absolutely eliminated. Quickness and the knock up onto Bruce. He's going to be forced to use both summoners as Minji goes in to find what he can, but with the top laner now dead, it should be attention towards Baron, and likely Baron for PSG.
I think this is just PSG's Baron. I don't see a way to contest here for J-Team. They have no Nocturne ult, no sums on Bruce, and Driver unfortunately was taken out there. The PSG, they start to speed things up. They find and engage on the mid-wave state. We don't need to wait for those dragons to spawn. They see J-Team overreaching, and they're punished for it. Baron is picked up. Ooh.
Oh, Lalva is going to get the spell shield on the majority of the damage as he looks for the fear now. He's just trying to do whatever he can to survive, and for now he will. So it is going to be Flash actually used by both him and Maple, but maybe more important that Maple has lost his.
Yeah, no Flash. Means he's a little vulnerable in those team fights. There's a TP ward there, I think, available for Arjun. You can see I think they weren't quite aware of it on J-Team. They were still positioning very aggressively for a very long time. Nice spell shield there, but the flash from the Renekton here is really good, and then the Rakan follow-up. I mean, there's just so much engage and not enough disengage on the side of J-Team to stop it.
Yeah, Baron now, so we'll have to see where they turn their attention to. There's no other objectives up except for towers, so likely try and get these waves in formation, push them in all at relatively the same time, and then start working on that mid and bottom inner towers.
Wouldn't expect to see only slightly in PSG's favor, but I think they're in an amazing spot. I think it's so hard for PSG to lose from this point. They've got the Baron, they've got the gold lead, the Dragons as well. They're going to be able to push in, I think, mid and bot here. Tristana maybe needs to be careful. She doesn't know where Nocturne is at this point. I think it's going to feel safe under the tower. Maybe feels that Nocturne is recalled by now. But it's just going to be safe. You can see her kind of moving back. In the meantime, though, PSG, as soon as they can spot Lalva, Maple can start to get more aggressive here. Just going to take away some of these wards.
What's so scary is there's no one really that's going to be able to take out Ginger in any rapid amount of time at least. And so if there is the fight to break out, you kind of have to just hope everyone can get past her. But in the case of Aphelios at least, that's just not going to be possible. And I don't know that the rest of the team have the damage without Aphelios to be able to take down the carries.
It doesn't feel like it. Now, 1 minute away on the third Dragon. There's still a minute on the Baron, and PSG, they haven't got as much here as I would have thought. I think they should at least break one more tower, and you can call it a day. Head back to the Dragon and just kind of play for the team fight. It should be this mid tower falling.
Yeah, Wako coming and buffing it up. Should be able to get this here. Tristana coming down. That extra damage definitely will be able to secure that. So two towers are found before this dragon spawns. Arguably could have got more from it, but ultimately the 3,500 gold Baron power play certainly isn't bad.
Yeah, it's a nice amount of gold for sure. Armor Pen is almost picked up here by Wako, which would feel really good. Can help you get through that Jax and the Nocturne quite a bit faster. Once that front line is gone, the rest aren't going to last. Looks like LeBlanc is probably working towards the, I believe it's the Lich Bane. Actually, that doesn't build out of that, I don't think. Not sure what she's going for. Maybe it could be Azonia's or something. We'll see. And Bruce is still a long way away from Armor Pen of his own. As this gets started up, this third Dragon, I really don't see J-Team contesting. And there is, unfortunately, no trade they can go for either. So slowly bleeding out. They're trying to find a way back in, but really they just need PSG to make a mistake. And PSG don't often make them.
Yeah, you don't really note PSG as the team that makes mistake, particularly here over in the PCS. Maple now hitting level 16. He's extremely strong. 2-0 on this Tristana.
I wonder, is he going to jump forward? He has members around. TP is coming through. Minji.
Yeah, Minji should be in a lot of trouble here. What can Minji do here to try and escape? That is double jump used, but he's gone back to this distortion. Flash also used. He's delaying a lot of time, but they're not getting anything for it. Glacial Prism will secure that. One more auto attack from Wako. Seals the deal. Delayed a lot of time though, so I think now it's just up to PSG to go and reclaim these minion waves in both middle and bottom. So not much really should be found off that. It's just a nice little bit of gold to find.
Yeah, it was a lot invested for it though. Definitely didn't come for free, and allows J-Team to regain a bit of temp on the other side of the map. Can it be used for anything though? There's no objectives up for a bit.
At the moment it's Arze just doing so much damage to Driver.
Ooh, he's maybe being chased here. I mean, they have the blast cone. Ooh, it's a big one too.
Another teleport coming in from Maple now. He should be just looking for a buster shot, you have to feel, but it is Driver who gets off that dash first. Now the Paranoia used. There is flash available for Lalva, but a lot of abilities are available for PSG too. It should be Lalva going down. Lalva kind of costing Driver his life there. Sorry, other way around.
Really nice though from PSG to manage to find these picks. Not often do you see the TP used in this fashion in the mid game, you know, often just saving it for kind of grouping in those team fights. Being very proactive with it though, definitely a good sign. They punish J-Team twice in a row. Keep getting themselves further and further ahead. Now Baron at only 40 more seconds, and J-Team, they still can't team fight Wouldn't be surprised to see PSG just start this one up.
Yeah, you have to feel like they can. I don't really see a way that J-Team can really compete for it. It should just be going over once it respawns, and at which point I think PSG are ahead enough to use it to sort of end the game even. I think they do have enough power to do that, and even if not, they will be at an advantage and be able to pick up that 4th and final dragon. We are going to go into a pause.
Ooh. So it was actually Lichbane there completed for the LeBlanc. Makes sense. Very strong in this build. Probably feels like he doesn't need the Zhonya's with the mobility he has. And I wonder, where J-Team go, because it really feels like it's so in PSG's control. Like, they have to make a mistake for J-Team to come back. I don't think there's a way that J-Team can proactively get themselves back in this game. Maybe the way is to punish Maple on the side lane, but he's doing such a good job of just playing safe when he needs to and not giving that window for him to come back in.
Well, you're the local LeBlanc connoisseur. If you're the LeBlanc in this game, if you're Minji, how do you reckon you're supposed to play these team fights? Who should be the person you're looking to get that poke off on, and I think for the best chance of winning?
Probably onto Wako. I think you need to chunk the AD, but it's pretty difficult to really get anything done, right? Like, I think as the AD carries get stronger and stronger, you're going to take a lot of damage back for going in, and sometimes even just with Legend Bloodline, they have enough lifesteal that the poke doesn't stick as much. And that can be a real trouble with LeBlanc, with this build particularly, is that you don't have as much burst as you normally do. So if you can't burst them down, you can't sustain them down, what can you do?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit hard to play around. I think it looks to me like really this game, if it is to start looking better, I think Driver has to do a lot. I think this Jax is really the champion. I mean, Aphelios as well, but I just think Aphelios is going to get absolutely slaughtered by both Arza and Jinjie. I don't think he has the damage required to be able to take down either of them. And so I feel like a lot is going to be on this Jax to find a nice big stun and find the damage necessary on either the Tristana or on Wako on Xayah, as you said.
Certainly is, and like I said, PSG, they start this one up on spawn. They need to find Wako, but he has even more safety now. Has a stopwatch as well. J-Team not here quick enough. They're actually in a bit of trouble. They need to leave.
Yeah, they do definitely need to leave. Driver did get knocked up and is able to leap strike out, so Minji trying to find the wave clear, using that Lich Bane to stop as much of this Baron power play as possible, but it won't take long for PSG to march their way down this middle lane and start getting to work on these inhib towers.
Yeah, have 2.5 minutes of Baron to use, and a 4th dragon coming up after that. Minji, ooh. Okay, he did get the auto attack on Wako. It was pretty delayed. And he doesn't have any lifesteal. Maple does. He's got himself the BT. But if he can get more damage on Wako, it's good. Time's running out here, though. Maybe with the Shiv, can clear these waves.
Yeah, Jinjie starting to position aggressively. Exactly what you need to do on the Sejuani. That is the inhib tower going down. Inhib next focus. Minji trying to do what he can to find this poke with these LeBlanc auto attacks, but nothing can come across until that inhib goes down, and now target looks to be towards the top lane.
It does, yeah. And I think with this, they should be able to get 2 inhibs and then just go to the 4th drag. We'll see if they end up playing for this one or not. Looks like they will. They're moving towards it, but they do need to be back bot side in time to play for that drag. Alternatively, if they can find an engage here, could find the win shortly after.
Yeah, I think they're strong enough to just look for the win. We'll have to see if Jinjie pulls the trigger. Obviously, PSG are noted for being more calm and collected and reserved, you could say.
Now, damage on this tower.
Okay, Paranoia is going to be used. It is actually going to be J-Team who look for the engage. Lalva is gone golden, but he's in the middle of 5. He's not long for this world. His driver tries to find what he can, but it's nothing. Bruce, 8,000 shurikens, but will he have the damage? At least not for now, as Wako is playing out of his mind. He finds 2. Driver's going down next, and it is going to be cleanly 3 taken down with just LeBlanc and Lulu left. This should be the game to PSG.
Looks like it will. Minji and Enso just walk away with their tail between their legs. Not much left now, and in typical PSG fashion, it's close until it isn't. They're going to clean up this game and maybe pad their KDA a little bit more before, but yeah, after 30 minutes, it is PSG that walk away with the win. And I got 2 words for you, Vestian. Draft gap. I mean, that was just look, okay, well, let's go through it. So I think the LeBlanc first pick obviously is very, very strong, but the problem is Tristan is the best matchup into it, right? So you are getting that LeBlanc, but it's with that kind of that asterisk on it of you are playing